Okay, I'm gonna try something new here. I'm not sure that this is gonna work, but I'm gonna do a kind of a short process video, show you some of the ways that I make this comic. And today we're doing some coloring. This is page 28, so this is quite a bit further into the story than I've posted, because I think I've posted page 5 so far. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of how I color. I color in Photoshop. I color in RGB, which you're probably not really supposed to do. You're kind of supposed to, there's like an image mode. I color in RGB. You're supposed to color in CMYK for printing purposes. But for now, I've been using Photoshop since 1996. So I know I'm kind of used to converting RGB files to CMYK, so that's something I'll have to do when I actually go to print the book, because there's colors that exist in RGB that you can't really reproduce with CMYK. Anyway, I don't want to get too technical. But anyways, so I'm doing this probably the wrong way, but that's the way I color comics. For the most part, that's the way. I'll convert it later. But anyways, so I've got layers over here. I've got a flats layer beneath this layer, so I can show you what that looks like. That's this. So this is the flats, and then on top of that I'll have a layer for the coloring. So right now I'm pretty much turning my flats into the final coloring, and then I'll go on top of that with, you know, shading and stuff like that. With this comic, with Saddle, I've kept the coloring pretty simple. I don't do a lot of gradients or things like that. I do pretty simple colors on this, which is kind of like, it's kind of the style that I was going for, but also kind of, it's also just the way that it's easier to make this. I didn't want to get too detailed with the coloring because I didn't want to take forever to color it. It still takes forever to color. I mean, as you can see, doing all this tech definitely takes a long time. So right now I'm just coloring, I'm coloring Malone's speeder bike thing, and over here I have a file. It's got a bunch of stuff in it, like different tests of stuff that like coloring tests and sketches, initial design sketches and stuff. And I still reference it. I'll reference this for color sometimes. And then I'll have other pages open as well in case I need to look for certain colors. And up here on the top right hand corner here, I have the HSB sliders, which is hue, saturation, and brightness. And I tweak these a lot to get the colors I want. So like, I'll kind of describe it as I go. So right now I'm going to do like some of these little inside of these little gear things. I don't really know what all this tech is or does. So like if I wanted to use like a brighter version of this color, I would go to this brightness slider here and just slide that over. And now it'll be, you know, a similar color, but it's a little brighter. So right now if I wanted to color some of this engine detail, so I come over here to this other document and I'll use my color picker, pick one of these colors, and then drop it with this drop bucket. So there's the brush tool, and then there's this bucket tool, which kind of like searches. And what the flats are doing underneath is, I'll just show you just this layer without the artwork. It's just, the flats are just all these little selections or pieces that I created that I can now, with that, since I have those flat colors, I can just use this paint bucket to just fill those in. I don't know how familiar anyone is who's watching this with how coloring works, but anyway, that's kind of how the sausage is made a bit. So like on this panel up here, I've already decided what a lot of these colors are. So I've also got I've got a copy of this file. So it's the same file, but zoomed in, so I can just reference it real fast. So that's what I'll do. If I wanted to color like these walls here, it's just these colors. So I can just drop bucket this stuff. So this is kind of the easy part in a way. Doing the flats is actually the easiest part as far as, you know, I don't have to use my brain and think a lot. So I actually really like it because it's kind of relaxing, but doing the figuring out what colors everything should be is kind of difficult. Sometimes it depends on the page. It depends on what's going on. But trying to keep everything consistent is probably actually the hard part. So like this is, you know, this color, this thing is this color here, and I got to make sure it all, you know, stays consistent. That's kind of that's some work sometimes, especially with all this tech stuff. So anyways, that's what I'm doing here. So I got to figure out like which part of this wall, like, so that is, this thing is that part there. Okay. But anyway, like I said, I've been using Photoshop since 1996. I went to art school. I haven't really been using it for comics since then, but I've been using it for comics for a long time. But I learned graphic design in art school, and that's what my career, my day job was for a very long time. Now it's more coding and doing a UI design, but I still use Photoshop in my job all the time. I use it almost every day still, because I make a lot of mock-ups for different products that I'm designing. I'll do mock-ups in Photoshop all the time, so I'm still in the Photoshop world very often. All right, so I'm trying to paint bucket these little bits here. So one of the things I can do, if there's a bunch of these little things I need to color, so I'll just use the lasso tool, grab all these, and then with the paint bucket up here at the top, I can click off of this continuous, and it'll just color all those at once. I want to do the selection so that it only does here, because I don't know because if I did that without that, it would turn these other things that are that color, and I don't want to do that. So I just want to circle or select this thing and just do those bits. All right. So the process is like I'll usually I'll take the script and chop it up in Illustrator, figure out, you know, what panels or what word balloons are going to be on each page. Kind of think about it in my head of like how much stuff is going to go on each page. So then I'll do the roughs, and then and I do all that stuff digitally. So I do those sometimes in Photoshop, sometimes in Clip Studio. Usually Clip Studio. That's what I use to draw is Clip Studio here. I'll do another video showing that process. So then once I'm done drawing it in Clip Studio, I bring it into Photoshop to do the flats, then the colors, and then I take it into Illustrator to do the lettering. And Illustrator is another program that I've been using for, gosh, since around 1996 as well. I used to use it every day when I was a graphic designer. I used Illustrator more than anything else, actually. Now I don't use it very often. I still use Photoshop, like I said, but I don't use Illustrator barely at all. So when I'm lettering, I have to like remember how to do a lot of stuff. So right now I want to color this little bit right here, but I didn't, in my flats, I didn't separate this piece from this piece. So I need to figure out what color that is, and then I can separate it from where it's touching these other parts that are the same color. So once that's separated, then I can just paint bucket the rest. And now my cat is walking on my computer. Okay. That's probably a good place to stop. Anyway, so this is just a little peek at how I do this. Oh my gosh, my cat is sitting on my computer. Okay. Alright, well, anyways, I'll do more of these when my cat is not sitting on me. Let me know if you like this.